I'm just gonna wait here and see if anyone, okay, we got someone watching. I haven't gotten around to making that other video yet with those pictures and all those other things that I was talking about last night that I was gonna do. I've been, occupied. Basically, let's talk about Jesus and the conspiracy theories. And yes, Horus again. For those of you that don't know about this, but I'm sure some of you probably do know about it, there's conspiracy theories out there about Jesus is an alien. What's new? There's all kinds of crazy garbage out there about things like that. And I'm not necessarily saying crazy because people are not supposed to think that way. That's not what I'm saying at all. Different reason. Because the reason why I say they're crazy is because, first off, you just completely skipped trying to prove Jesus. You're using the New Testament as proof, and then you're making an additional claim that Jesus is an alien. Like, first off, you gotta prove that the guy existed. That's number one. And then number two, then you gotta prove he's an alien. So, good luck getting past step one. That's gonna be hard. And if they somehow do get past step one, which is highly unlikely, I don't see how they're gonna prove step two. And I can't even see them getting past step one. Anyway, now let's go to the next topic. Let's talk about Horus. Last video, this is pretty much part 2 of it, like a sequel, I guess, if you want to put it that way. I got someone that already told me something. And it's an excuse that's, I think it's been used before. And that is, well, there are other forms of Horus. Really? That's the excuse you give me? There are other forms of Horus? What does that prove? Does that mean he was born December 25th? No. Now, unfortunately, I hate it when people say Horus was born December 25th, because unfortunately, the religious people use that as proof that they're in the right and not the conspiracy theorists. Allow me to explain. For example, what they'll do to counter someone saying that Horus and Jesus are similar, and Jesus is based on Horus because he was born December 25th, is the fact that the Romans added the celebration of December 25th to Christianity. It is an external attribute of Christianity, not something that's actually in the literature, not something that's inside the literature. So that's not going to work. Even if Horus was born on December 25th, which he wasn't, and before someone goes out telling me this guy has different forms of his character, different versions of the myth where he is, there isn't. There is not one version of Horus that is born on December 25th. Excuse me if I sound stern, but I'm trying to make sure my point gets across. Because do you know what happens? Do you know what happens when the religious person sees that these things are wrong? Do you know what happens when the religious person finds out that Horus does not actually resemble Jesus? I'll tell you what happens. They're going to go back to being a Christian. They're going to tell you, oh, so the other members of the congregation were right. Satan's trying to deceive us. Because I did my research in the translations of Egyptian hieroglyphs, and Horus does not have these attributes that the people claim that he has that are similar to Jesus, in which he doesn't have. And they're going to go back to being a Christian. What are you going to do now? They're going to double down on their original belief system. Good luck getting them out of religion then. Like I said in the first video, If you tell me Osiris is similar to Jesus, that's true. Yes, he is. He gets killed by Set. He dies and rises again. Okay? And then you have the whole thing that where it happens in a desert environment. Okay? Just like what happened with Jesus, he was in a desert environment and Satan tempted Jesus in the desert. He was there for 40 days. They obviously ripped that off from the Old Testament where the Jews were in the desert for 40 years. They're wandering in the desert. So they took that from the Old Testament and then remixed it into Jesus. Okay, that's obvious. Now, you got the flood too. The flood, the story of Noah's flood, it lasted 40 days and 40 nights. That's just the number 40 is just repeating itself. So they took the wandering of the desert of the Jews from the flood myth, and then the Christians took that from the wandering of the desert and applied it to Jesus in that chronological order. It's that simple. Logic. Now, let's get back to the original topic. If you give Christians false information so they can stop believing in their religion, and they find out that you're wrong, they're not going to listen to you anymore. It's over. They're going to go back to where they are. They're going to go right back. There's no excuse. This is ridiculous. I'm not trying to defend them. That's not what I'm doing. No. Abrahamic religion's garbage. Garbage. It's an atrocious religion. And then you have Christians out there that are going to tell you, why do you focus on just us? Why won't you go talk bad about the Quran? Which, by the way, I talked bad about the Quran, and I talked about in Surah Ali Imran. It could also be pronounced Surah Al Imran, chapter 3, verse 180 in the Quran. Allah has the heritage of the heavens and the earth. Okay, because believe it or not, this might not sound like it's involved the Horus and Jesus thing, but it is, and I'll explain why in just a second. Now, how can Allah have a heritage if he doesn't have parents? And how did he create the heavens and the earth, but he inherited the heavens and the earth? Why would he inherit something that he created? That makes no sense. Now let's talk about Horus and Jesus again. You see, giving people the false information, okay, is going to lead them right back to where they started. Give them the correct information. Give them the facts that I just mentioned, for example. Show them the contradictions in the literature. Show them the history of the literature with evidence. Show that to them. And what I connected, what I'm trying to say, how the Horus Jesus thing is involved with Christians, is because if you focus too much on that, especially with the false information, although that's not always the case, they're going to tell you, why are you criticizing us, but you're not criticizing the other religions? Well, really, the answer to that question is very simple. Christianity is the largest religion in the population gap, or I should say population scheme, and the whole wide world. So yeah, if they're the largest religion, people are going to go after them the most. Why not? They're the largest. You want to bring down religion, try to take down the top one first. Then worry about the rest later. They don't understand that. And when people try to tell them that, they don't want to hear they don't want to hear your reasons. They're just going to tell you, oh, you've been possessed by the devil. You see, you don't believe what you're saying because of what you're saying. You're possessed by the devil. They don't want to hear the real reasons why you don't believe in God. Here's why I tell you some other crap. And then they go out telling you this is what you really believe. So like what? They can read minds now? It's infuriating. Anyway, this Horus and Jesus crap and the false similarities being stated to exist between Krishna and Jesus and all of these other like Mithras and all that crap. That's got to end. Okay, that's really got to end. Now, does that mean that there are no gods that resemble Jesus? No, that's not what I'm saying. The conspiracy theorists are pointing to the wrong information. False information. They're pointing to the incorrect information. But anyway, I need to do that in a more detailed video, not just me talking, because that's not going to be good enough. And I gotta have a lot of links in the description of the video, so that way people can go out and check them sources. See, I'm not making this crap up. Unlike the conspiracy theorists back there that are making crap up all the time on the internet. Anyway, that's all I gotta say.